Josh Downs, and that's Phillip Rivers with a touchdown pass. The 422nd touchdown pass of his career. Myers, kick on the way, and it is good!
Welcome back to the Central Indiana Sports Report, Colts fans, for a special edition of the Colts Report. Will Retherford's and Mike Rich's reaction to a Colts 18-16 heartbreaking defeat in Seattle. It was all setting up to be exactly as Will called it. Will said it was going to go exactly this way and the Colts were going to win, and it really looked like that was going to happen. In the end, though, things kind of crumbled around us this season, Will.
Yeah, it was going to be awfully loud on this podcast if the Colts were able to pull that one off, because I think I was the only person in media in the state of Indiana that actually believed the Colts were going to pull that one out. Yeah, it went exactly how I expected. They made it dirty. They made it gross. They won in the trenches. They did a good job of, I think, masking Rivers' weaknesses as little as they could. They just pissed it away. There's just no other way to describe it. Did they need the offense to go down there, march and score a touchdown? Yes. Did the defense need to step up and make a play when the game called for it? Yeah, that's also true at the same time.
But Mike, they lost a game and the defense didn't even give up a touchdown. Oh, everything that could go wrong the last month. It's been crazy.
It's been a crazy last, 5 games? They've lost 4 of the last 5. Is that what it's been like? 4 straight? I think back on just history of NFL to see like a 60-yard field goal with 47 seconds left, and you're like,
none.
You should have that game in the bag. And then they come back and they kick a 56-yard field goal after that Seattle walked right down the field, and just there was no contest. I don't know what the hell happened with the defense. I think it was 2 or 3 plays, and they were in field goal range. And
Mike, in our lifetimes, a 56-yard field goal was one of the 5 longest field goals in NFL history. And we just saw 2 in 30 seconds.
Yeah. In Denver, it was a long field goal.
That's right.
But to see
now it's like
back,
routine.
The Colts kicker, what's his last name? Groupie or
Groupie? Groupie.
Damn. I mean, the highlight of his career was that freaking kick. In 20 seconds, it was shattered. Well, I think you're right. The Colts did very well supporting Rivers' weaknesses, but I think he got them where they needed to be. I thought for a 44-year-old guy that has had 4 or 5 days of practice, did a pretty damn good job. You're just not going to compete.
Incredible.
I mean, to put you in a position to win.
That performance is not good enough to win. He can't start another game. That was not good enough to win. He was absolutely glaring.
You cannot expect anything more from a guy on 3 days of practice after 5 years off than that.
The performance is great for that story. It's not great for winning NFL football games, and that should be the only thing that matters.
That's why you're the only one who picked him to win.
You can't tell me that Riley Leonard there in that fourth quarter would not have been a better option. You can't tell me that. Phillip Rivers could not put his right foot in the ground and deliver a good ball. He just couldn't do it. He didn't throw a good ball the whole time. He didn't deliver a strike. It was constantly floating. His receivers went up and had to make difficult plays every single catch. You had to be able to run the ball, and when you got down there in under 2 minutes, you saw what happened. A great catch by Alec Pierce where he was getting mauled, and that should have been a flag regardless of the catch. But then if Jonathan Taylor didn't play superhero and fight for extra yards, it's just not sustainable. And you had a guy on the bench that could have I think, delivered a slightly better performance than what I saw from Phil Rivers today. It's an awesome story, but the Colts didn't fail Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers needs to not play another game. That's what needs to happen. It was a
I
great
don't
story.
know.
I completely agree with you.
I thought the pass to Tyler Warren, and I think it was the beginning of the fourth quarter. I don't think there was another quarterback on that team that could have thrown that pass. And it was a great catch on Tyler Warren's part. But I think that the key with the players is how much they stepped up. The rest of the offense, the game plan was great for what we had going into it with Phillip Rivers. And give him another week, and if he's going to progress, he's going to get better.
Man, I'm going to have serious questions about him waking up tomorrow morning and going, what
He's
the
going to be
heck?
sore.
Yeah, and is he going to be even able to really compete in practice this week? And he got hit a couple of times really hard. And I remember being 44, Mike. That's not pleasant.
No.
In 5 years
got
since
up.
the hit.
You know what I was thinking the whole time? I was like, he's teaching Anthony Richardson how not to fucking tap out. Because that dude should have tapped out in the first quarter. 44 years old and being able to run a professional NFL offense and make it through 4 quarters, I thought it was pretty remarkable.
I thought it was impressive.
And be competitive in that environment. I think Seattle's one of the toughest environments to play in the NFL.
I thought it was going to be embarrassing, and it wasn't.
I agree. I thought it was going to be embarrassing, too. I didn't think it was going to be that close. The only one that thought it was going to be close was Will. You had me convinced the other day that they were going to win.
I was Phillip Rivers the whole game until that field goal went through. Damn, Will nailed this.
Yeah.
Well, here's I don't want to discredit. I'm thankful for the effort that he went out and performed for our fans, for the Colts fan base. I give all the props and respect to Phillip Rivers for being 44, coming off your couch and playing. And I'm not saying that he played bad for the circumstance. He just didn't play good enough to win you a football game in most situations. The defense did a good job. Your defense didn't allow a touchdown. You've got to score. If you would have said we held the Seahawks under 20 points, I would have said we'd have won. The offense has to go and score more than 16. It's just the reality of the situation. In that fourth quarter, you can't sit here and tell me that the play calling wasn't designed to mask Phillip Rivers' weakness. They had a 3rd and 5. What do? They call a screen pass that loses 5 yards because they know Phillip Rivers can't stand in the pocket and deliver a strike and deliver a ball that is going to give them a first down. That play call was intentionally done because you just didn't have the faith that your quarterback was going to be able to stand in there and hang. And it took him out of field goal range. And that play right there, it started the cascade of the Seahawks gaining some momentum. And the Seahawks didn't score in the red zone. The Colts did a good job of bending and not breaking. But Riley Leonard makes it different because your quarterback can move. Your quarterback can escape the pocket a little bit. Maybe you just call the game a little differently. But I thought that I'm not saying it's on Steichen. Steichen did the best that he could do with what he had. I'm not saying that he called a bad game. I'm just saying if that's what it's going to be the last 3 weeks when you basically need to win out to have any shot at making the playoffs, it's not going to be good enough. And they're going to end 9-8.
I thought him kicking that field goal was insane.
He shouldn't have kicked the field goal.
No,
he shouldn't have kicked the field goal.
And the Jonathan Taylor play on 3rd down, the run that got him to 4th and 3, I thought, hey, that's pretty good. Get it to 4th and 3, and you got
that's a good play calling, and
that's right.
It's good play calling because if you go for it on 4th down, it just felt like, and I told you on the podcast with Sam, I said the Colts have to go for it on 4th down, and they got to play to win. And to me, kicking that field goal wasn't playing to win. Because if you're playing to win, you don't give the Seahawks a chance to have the ball back. Right. You either live and die with whatever decision you had. You had three timeouts in your back pocket. Even if you don't get it, get stops, and hopefully you
To be fair, it took a 56-yard field goal at the buzzer to make it not work.
But 56 is the new 45. So you can't game plan like that. You can't call the game like that. And let's also mention Groupie's kickoff there that allowed them to get to the 40-yard line was horrible. It was a horrendous. They should have let the ball go out of bounds. All they needed Blake Groupie to just deliver a ball and keep them Even at the 30 is going to be even harder with no timeouts to make a play, and they couldn't do it. They just flat out shit the bed when it mattered the most, and they just didn't play winning football in the last 40 seconds, and they got beat. And they beat a team, the Colts got beat by a team that they shouldn't have. They should have won that game given all the circumstances and how your defense played, and it just wasn't good enough. So the moral happy ending of this Phil Rivers experiment, awesome. Glad that he went out there and got to perform, got a touchdown. That's great. But everybody's got to be like, we just absolutely lost the playoffs because of that situation.
Do you think we would have been there with Riley Leonard starting, though? I think it would have been a whole different game. I think it would have been a whole different game plan. I think they would have went away from the run. I think the key to why they were in that game is because they controlled the run game, and Jonathan Taylor
Riley
got
Leonard can
hard.
run the ball. That's the thing.
There was
He
just a
can.
couple times. There was a couple times, Mike, where I sat there, like I said, on the 3rd and 5, where if Riley Leonard's the quarterback, your play call's different. There were just key situations where the play calling is different with a different quarterback. And as good as Phillip Rivers played given the circumstance, it just didn't provide the team a real shot. You know, he only threw for 120 yards. That's just not good enough. And I'm sorry. And that's the part that people don't want to hear, is that it just wasn't good enough, regardless of the story. And I think Riley Leonard there, you know, he's able to move. There's maybe a couple times he steps up in the pocket. He delivers a ball. I don't think that he threw the ball poorly in his performance in Jacksonville. The interception he gave up was a 50-50 toss-up that the tie goes to the runner, that it seemingly didn't in that situation. I love Phil Rivers. I think he's a legend. He's a gift to the game for doing what he did, but politely and respectfully as a Colts fan.
If he's healthy, you got to go Riley Leonard going forward, right?
I said it all week. It needed to be Riley Leonard if he's healthy, and you just got to give yourself a chance, because if you think that next week San Francisco, they now they saw the week of Phil Rivers, they have a week of tape now. They know where his limitations are, and Michael Pittman's not involved, Josh Downs isn't involved, Tyler Warren's not involved, Alec Pierce is not involved. It's just not sustainable to win. You got to have a quarterback that can deliver the balls, be on time, and he was on time. It's that zip, it's that extra just oomph that he didn't have in that right arm that somebody like Riley Leonard can have.
Well, we've lost Mike Rich. He's on the road for his job, so don't know if he'll be back or not. If not, it was good having him. Will, one more quick segment. Here's the thing, Will. They are still smack dab in the middle of the playoff race.
And that's why a game like tonight is so disappointing, because this is one that you can't lose. You can't give this one up, because they needed to win 2 of 4 to give themselves a legitimate shot. It would have been awesome to get the 2 of 4 before you had to get them. That didn't happen. So now you got to play like your back's against the wall even more now at home on Monday Night Football against the 49ers. I don't know what you do. I think Steichen's going to roll with Rivers, I think, and I hope that it can work out. But after what I saw today, I don't think that it's sustainable enough for this team to have a real shot the rest of the way out.
Hey, Mike, where are you joining us from?
Jacksonville. They won today.
Unfortunately, Jacksonville and Houston are both playing really well.
10-4, 9-5. Houston's
It's exactly. It's unfortunate exactly how we saw it, and Jacksonville is getting better week in, week out. That offense is really starting to find its groove. So I don't know. Right now they've got to figure out a way, the Colts do, to make that Week 18 game against Houston a win and end.
All right, well, let's close out this Colts report without Mike. We're losing him. He has bad connection from Jacksonville for some reason. In the 2025 season, your final thoughts on Phillip Rivers, the Colts, and what the rest of this entails?
The fact that Phillip Rivers was willing to do it shows the cojones that he has to give himself a shot, to be the man in the arena, to be the man that can do it, to be the story. It's is willing to go out and do that. That being said, this has got to be it. They've got to give themselves a legitimate shot and give themselves a quarterback that I think can win them games and not win in spite of. And even with Riley Leonard's limitations, I still like the athleticism. I like the profile. I think his arm looked live in that Jacksonville game. I'd love to see him get an opportunity. I'm a little surprised that he wasn't given an opportunity this week, and 16 points just isn't going to cut it in this league. You got to score touchdowns, not field goals.
Mike Rich is back again. Your final thoughts, Mike?
I think they start Phillip Rivers the rest of the year. They're going to go with that experiment and try to pull 2 out of the next 3 and probably still not make the playoffs. I think their best chance of winning a game is probably San Francisco. If they don't beat San Francisco, they might as well. Yeah, if they can't beat San Francisco, it's time to pack it up. I don't think keeping Phillip Rivers out there to get hurt.
Houston loses at home to the Raiders next week. The Colts pretty much have to go unbeaten.
I don't see that happening. Houston's playing well. Jacksonville's playing well. Their schedules are more favorable. And I think we're out of the playoffs again. It doesn't matter who's starting at quarterback. It's unfortunate because there's so many good pieces to this team, and the weakness is that quarterback position. And it's so weak that you have to bring in a 44-year-old that hasn't played in 5 years. And it was exciting. I was excited to watch the game. I think a lot of people were excited to watch this game and see how he played. And I think it was impressive.
In the end, it'll go down one of the most memorable performances in the history of the franchise, I think, but just wasn't enough.
If he wins, it's legendary because he goes back and he starts against San Francisco, has a chance at home. The thing with Phillip Rivers over Riley Leonard is just the intelligence of knowing the defense, knowing what to expect. He knew when to get down. It looked awful when he would go down to avoid a hit. It looked awful. When he tried to be mobile, it looked awful. And God knows Riley Leonard's got a lot more skills when it comes to going outside of the pocket. And I wouldn't be surprised if they play them both. Why not?
Thanks for listening, everyone. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie. Please come back Wednesday for the Colts Report.